Hi there, it's April the 21st and we're continuing our progress through the Good News according to Luke, and we're in Luke chapter 20, reading from verses 27 to 47. We've already had Jesus encountering the Pharisees and answering their questions as they try to catch him out. And now the Sadducees come, in Hebrew called the Saducees, means those who have been made righteous. Now the Sadducees are those who stick to Torah. They just say that we should be following the first 5 books of Moses, the Torah. And there's an old joke that says they didn't believe in the resurrection. That's why they were sad, you see. But they didn't accept resurrection because they said that resurrection didn't appear in the Torah. And so they come to Jesus and they set him quite a riddle, a puzzle. They refer to the principles found in Deuteronomy 25, 25 and 26 that was there in the early part of Israel, that said that if a man died childless, his widow would be given to his next brother to raise up children for the dead man, so he didn't lose his inheritance. And so they come and they say, okay, Jesus, so you say there's a resurrection. In the resurrection, this woman, she's not only married one brother, but she's married 7 brothers. So at the end of the analysis, whose wife is she going to be? Jesus realizes that they're trying to trap him, and he comes back at them and he says, look, you've not understood it. He says, this is this age that you're talking about, marriage and giving in marriage. But actually in the next age, there's not going to be marriage in that way. Why? Because we're going to be one with the Lord. We're going to be completely at one with our bridegroom, who is Christ, who is Messiah. But he says, you've not understood resurrection either. And Jesus points out the fact that there is actually resurrection in Torah. How? Well, Jesus takes them to the story in Exodus 3 of Moses meeting God in the burning bush, and God introduces himself to Moses as the God of Abraham, Isaac and Jacob. Now Jesus says, this is Moses declaring the truth of resurrection, because God is not God of the dead, but of the living. And therefore, what Jesus is saying, Abraham, Isaac and Jacob are alive, and they are anticipated in the resurrection. They will be raised again. It's interesting that Luke has already referred on the Mount of Transfiguration to Moses and Elijah appearing with Jesus. They're alive. They're not dead. This is a great mystery, but Jesus basically replies to the scribes by saying resurrection is a fact, and it is there in Torah. Jesus also goes on then to pose a question. He says, look, the Messiah is to be called the Son of David. But actually, David mentions Messiah when he says, the Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand, a famous messianic psalm. And he says, how can he be at the same time the Son of David and the Lord of David? It's a paradox, and therefore it can't be easily understood through logic. And then the scribes, actually, who have been listening in the background, say, you've made a good point, Jesus, you've said a good thing. And they don't have any questions to ask. They see the wisdom of Jesus and they realize that Jesus is more than they can match. And then Jesus warns the people about those who are just in it for the cleverness, who are just clever minds, who are trying to manipulate the truths of God to get their own benefit from it. And he says, beware of those scribes. Those scribes actually are busy. They're in it for their own benefit. They are going to be, in the final analysis, it's going to be bad for them, because they're not giving God his due place, his due praise. It's wonderful to know that resurrection is something that is promised to the people of God. Our final destination is not singing songs on a cloud with harps, but actually being raised to physical life as Jesus was on the 3rd day, and being given new bodies that will last eternally like Jesus' body lasts. And that's because of the power of his death and resurrection. Have a very good April 21st.